Right folks, so this is Cisco's Packet Tracer. It's a great little tool. It's perfect if you don't have any home lab equipment. Get a copy of Packet Tracer. It doesn't cost very much, and then we'll see what we can do with it here. So yeah, you have a list of scenarios that you can work through. You can create your own scenarios where there's a problem and you have to like create a solution around it, or you can just have a look down here and you can have a play. So we'll start off, since we're talking about switches, we'll start off with some 2960s. We'll have two of them, and then you double click on it and then you get the physical layout of the switch. You can zoom into it, look at the original size. It displays the config down here, or you can go to the CLI itself, which we've done here. Fantastic. So let's have a look at the CLI. It says press return to get started. So we're now on the switch. Now, like most things, you do have not autocomplete, but you have IOS help, which can be accessed via a question mark. So from that, you can do the following commands. You can do connect, disable, disconnect, enable, exit, logout, ping, resume, show, telnet, terminal, and traceroute. So the first thing that we need to do to turn on privileged commands is to do enable. In order to do that, you can just do en. And then you can see your command prompt there changes from one of those pointy little brackets to a hash. And from there you can do another question mark and you can see what privileged commands you have. So the one that we're really looking for here is going to be configure, but we'll see what else we've got. See, we have quite a few other things there. Okay, I just thought I'd make sure. Sometimes some of these devices can come pre-configured with IP routing, things like that, so just wanted to make sure that wasn't running. So let's have a look at the running config here. And when I say the running config, I mean what's running and what's not actually been saved yet. Because if you make changes to the config, you have to do a copy run to startup config. So let's just do a show run, or you can press tab and it auto completes it to show running config. And then from there you can see the version of the IOS, not the version of the config. Anything with no in front of it basically means that it's been disabled. So the hostname is switch, there is no service timestamps log data, and then you have the list of all the ports here, which as you can see are just completely blanked at the minute. And then at the very end we have your two uplink ports that we mentioned, which is interface gigabit Ethernet 1 and gigabit Ethernet 2. So in case you wonder what the 1/1 and the 1/2 means here, is that if you have a stacked switch, then that becomes 1/1, and then the equivalent on the stacked pair would be 2/1 and then 2/2. And then you have interface VLAN 1, which is the standard management VLAN, no IP address and shutdown. So if we do a show VLAN brief here, you can see that under VLAN number 1, the name of it is default and the status is active, and then all the ports underneath there, all the ports that are associated with VLAN 1 are listed there, which as you can see is every single one so far. And then you have certain VLANs for FTDI token rings and TR nets, etc., etc. But we'll come to them. So let's go back to here, and we'll do another question mark so we can see what else we could do. So the clock, you can just configure the local clock, you can set up debugs. Always remember, when you set up debugs on a Cisco switch, they are very, very detrimental to the performance of the switch. Not only do they start to slow things down, but they can actually crash the switch completely unless you have an off-site server that they're stored on. On some of the more modern kind of 2960G switches, you can automatically set it to TFTP log information off the switch. So be careful if you're trying to troubleshoot something or you're trying to troubleshoot a performance issue. Don't just go and whack debug on straight away, and make sure you've got the supporting backbone that can help you troubleshoot without, well, killing the switch basically. So you can do telnet, you can do SSH, you can look at VLAN information, but let's see what else we can get under show. You can show the Arp table, that's a useful one. Let's do that. show ARP, and that's it. So there's nothing in the ARP table at the minute, which is fine. So what we'll do is we'll connect these two uplink ports together via a cable. So let's just set it to automatically choose a connection type. We're going to go from there to here. Let's see what's plugged in where, shall we? Let's see where that actually went. I presume that would have put it automatically into oh, here we go. So let's stick that into gigabit Ethernet, shall we? Okay, it's actually put it into fast Ethernet 21 for some reason there. Okay, we'll change that. Hang on a sec. Let's just zoom in. So let's stick it into, in fact, yeah, let's just do fast Ethernet 1. And then on this one, let's do this one into fast Ethernet 1 as well. Just so we've got the connection there. Let's move them up the top of the screen. Or should we actually put it in gigabit? Because I'm sure it said down here that port. Yeah, so these ports down here are gigabit Ethernet, so we can just easily change that. Gigabit Ethernet 1, and this one also going to gigabit Ethernet 1. Now, these two switches are now physically connected together, but the switch ports that are associated with them probably won't be. But you can see there, it actually says that gigabit Ethernet 1 up, and here we have gigabit Ethernet 1 up. Wow, fantastic. So let's get back on the CLI and let's do a show ARP again. So there's nothing in the ARP table yet, but if we do a show interfaces gigabit Ethernet 1/1, this is that particular interface. You can see that it's running full duplex at a gigabit. Perfect, that's exactly what we wanted. And the ARP timeout for that is 4 minutes. If you want to see exactly what's going on all the interfaces, you just do show interface and then it'll go through every single interface on the switch and tell you what's going on with it, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want. Now, let's come back off there. And as you can see, these lights are now green. It does take a little while for the negotiation to come up. Let's see if there's anything in the ARP table yet. It might not, because I know the ARP table doesn't really deal with IP addresses and things, but I thought it might have shown the MAC address in there by now. Clearly not, that's okay. So let's get an end device connected, and let's go from here to here. Fast Ethernet 1, and then let's go this side as well. And then automatically choose connection type from here to Fast Ethernet 1. Okay, perfect. Right, now let's get back on the switch and we can see exactly what's going on if we hover over here. This is, okay, so link up, VLAN 1, and this side as well. Yep, that's just gone green. So that's link up VLAN 1 as well. Perfect. Okay, so because these switches don't really know about IP addresses or anything like that, we'll just go into the PC and we'll have a look at the configuration of Fast Ethernet, and then we'll do a static IP address of 192.168.1.1. Oh no, sorry, 1.10, because 1.1 is usually just a gateway, and then we'll have a /24 mask in there, and then we'll just close that off. And then on this one, we'll go to config again, go to there, 192.168.1.11/24 subnet again, close it off, and then let's get back onto this one. Oh sorry, let's go this one instead. And then let's do a command prompt. Let's do ping myself first of all, 192.168.1.11. Yes, I can ping myself, and I should be able to ping 1.10 as well, which is the other side of the network. So I'm basically now pinging from here, PC1, across to PC0. That's without a router, that's without anything giving me a DHCP address. That is statically assigned addresses on each of these PCs here via a switch, or via two switches. So if we decided to complicate things a bit more and started to introduce VLANs, we'll look at that in the next video, but that's basically how you do a really simple network. We're going to be doing a lot more advanced stuff for this with routing, etc. very soon, but that'll do for a minute.